Hi everyone, it's Vanessa Baker here for my usual Thursday slot, getting back into things this week. And I've got a really exciting project for you. I've used the Beautiful Butterflies stamp set dies and bundle to make a really cute butterfly card, sorry, with lots of layers, which is something that I haven't really shown on here, I don't think, maybe for a while. And it's quite a colourful card. I'm using a pretty paper that you can get for free with Celebration purchases. So when you spend 125 New Zealand dollars, you can choose this designer series paper as your free gift from Stampin' Up. And that runs until the end of February. So let's flip around and I'll show you what I mean. And I didn't do a little test of my lighting, unfortunately, before I came on. So it's looking a little dim. Still battling with this whole lighting thing. Okay, hopefully that is going to be okay. Try not to. The problem is the reflection off the glass mat. Anyway, we'll just get started. I'm just going to quickly refresh my computer and make sure that I'm here with sound. My computer and perfect. Okay. Right, so this is the, I'll show you the stamp set. So this is the Beautiful Butterflies stamp set. And it comes with a series of dies. I've got some of them out here. And the rest are here. So we've got bodies, we've got smaller butterflies, die-cut butterflies, and some labels. And these also go on there as well. So quite a lot of dies. And also with it is the hybrid embossing folder. And this is one of those folders where you can fit the die inside the folder. And you can just sort of feel it click into place, and you can emboss and die cut at the same time with the folder. So that's really cool, and I love this just even on its own. So you don't have to use it with the die, that's just an option. You can use it just as an embossing folder, and it's really, really pretty. So, I was going to do that ahead of time, but I haven't. So I'll just show you, and then the paper, that's right. I was going to show you the paper. So the paper's on page in the Celebration brochure. It's on page 11. So it's shown here. Lots of lovely bright colours, floral designs, and then on the reverse you've got this sort of ombre watercolour-y look to the paper. And we're going to use both sides of that piece today. And then I also just wanted to point out, which I didn't see initially when I first looked in this book, was the purple adhesive back sequins. So those will also coordinate with this paper, which would be a really nice addition. So that was the designer series paper. And at the moment, so Stampin' Up, initially they brought out the brochure that I just showed you, and then now they've added some more products to the Celebration gifts that you can choose, and the Beautiful Butterflies stamp set is one of them. So you can get this for free with qualifying order. And then you can add the embossing folder and dies as a separate item. Okay, so with the embossing folder, I'll show you the card because I'll have to explain. So this is my design. It is sort of a merging of a couple of things I've seen online, and one of them was Andrea Sargent. She's an artisan, and about a month ago she did this really beautiful butterfly shaped card that actually stands up. It's an easel card, but I really liked her layering. She had these 3 layers and the gold embossing, so that was one idea. And then if you actually look closely, this butterfly is not attached, so I've got it that it flips, and when you flip it up you can see that beautiful folder underneath. And I've also put a little secret greeting on the reverse of the butterfly, so that was my secret component. So you could put another little word there and then have your happy birthday message as well. So yeah, I just really love this sort of thing. So that's what we're making. So to do the embossing for the white layer, my idea was, so it doesn't matter, which way you put your paper in, but I wanted it to be, because it's a, what do we call that, landscape card, I wanted that butterfly to be sort of in the centre like that. So that's how I positioned my card in the folder. And you can use that line as a guide, but you don't want to come up too close in here, because you'll see if I push the paper right up to the end, there's a little bit that would get missed. So you want to just have it down a little bit. And with something like this, it doesn't matter if it's not straight, because it's there's no straight lines on it. So I'm just positioning that butterfly how I want it. I'd actually do it on an angle, because then the butterfly's more straight. No, I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to do that way. And then I'm going to run that through my die cutting and embossing machine. And you do that with just the base plate, number 1, and the grey plate, number 4. So like I say, I'm just using the folder this time as an embossing folder. And that's what I get. Hopefully you can see that. Beautifully embossed. Okay, so that's one layer of our card. And somewhere, oh, here it is. I've got the card base, so that's going to go on top of there. Now, the one that Patty Bennett did, she created a flipping butterfly, and her tip was to create a score line. So the way this is designed is it actually works with the note cards and envelopes, and I don't actually have a note card out, it's in its packaging, so I'll just pretend this is a note card. And the idea is that you line up these little markings on the top of the die with your score line on your card, and once that's lined up and you run it through, it will cut out that butterfly shape with the score line intact. So it's got these 2 little gaps here which will not cut, so that will maintain that score line. So Patty's tip was you can do that. It doesn't have to be on a card. You can do it on just a piece of designer series paper. So I've got my DSP here, and in this case I am wanting this side of the pattern, and I'm going to just do a score line at 1 centimetre. And I've got my paper, so the longest end is where I'm putting that score line. Okay, so now that gives me my line. And it's a little bit hard to see, but so now I'm going to, you probably won't be able to see it, but with the naked eye you can see where that score line is, and line these lines on the die up with that score line. And I meant to grab some washi tape. I haven't done. Let me see if I can find some quickly here. No, I might have to use a post-it note. I just want to tack it in place so it doesn't move while I take it to the machine. I was going to bring the machine up here, but it's I really am having trouble seeing that line. Here we go. There it is. Okay, so I'm just going to tack that in place with a couple of these so it doesn't move. And then you just run that through as if for cutting. So you want the plate number 1, and then plate number 2, and then your 2 clear plates. So I'll just put that through. 1, 2, 3, that down, and a 3 on top. Right. So then if I take these pieces away, what I've got is my die cut shape, and then it's still attached because my paper was slightly longer than the die cut. So we can just go in with our snips and just follow that same score line and just snip that away. There we go. And so what I've got now is my butterfly shape, and then at the top here I've got my scores. So that will just fold over. And that is going to sit on my layer like so and be glued on, and that creates that flipping effect with the butterfly. How cool is that? So at this point we could add our little word that's going to go in the back, and you want your butterfly facing this way because when it flips up it's going to be upside down, but you want your word to be readable. And I haven't actually mounted it, but I thought hello was kind of cute to put under there, and then that goes with any sentiment that you decide to do for the card. Now I'll just locate my gold powder. I've decided to heat emboss it. I couldn't really do this one ahead of time, so you're going to have to listen to the heat gun shortly. But it's only a small word, so it won't be for long. Okay, so I've got my powder on there. Just wipe off the extra. We'll just give that a little heat. And there it is. Okay, so we can go ahead now and put this layer onto the card. And to do that, I just lined it up. So I've got an even border on each side. And you do, unfortunately, you do get to see a little bit of that paper, but you can sort of, when you stick it, I just sort of pushed it with my finger and it kind of disappeared. I think it's because I'm going over another piece of paper that it's doing that. But anyway, so we've got it about where we want, and then I just flipped it over and folded that back, and then just put liquid glue along here. Fold that over. Just having to manipulate it a little bit. There we go, pretty easy. And I love that pattern of the butterfly. So the first one I did was using Melon Mambo paper, and this time it's a bit more sort of Blackberry Bliss. Okay, so that's using this die. So that is sort of tip number one, I guess, using the die. And so you can, of course, make, you know, as I explained before, a double-sided butterfly card, which I'll probably do in another video. I'm going to use this again in my videos this month. Okay, so the next thing is to do our other layers, and I've got the next layer is actually a white butterfly, and this is a different die from the set. It's a more detailed die cut. So I've pre-done that just in basic white cardstock. And then I'm just going to cut through the center of the body so that we've separated the wings, and they're going to be placed sort of somewhere about there on the larger butterfly. And then our third butterfly is going to go on top, and then you'll see these bits of wing poking out from behind. So for the third butterfly, there's a big butterfly stamp in the stamp set, this one here, and that I have stamped and embossed in gold. So I might just, I've got one I've already done to that level, so I've just used, so that's the side we've used for the large butterfly, and then I've just flipped it over and done the sort of ombre pattern for the one that's going to go on top. And I really like the contrast of that. In Andrea's one, she had actually watercoloured in behind the embossing, which looked great too, but I thought just as easy to use the designer series paper. And so the next step is to use the folder. So what I've done is I've actually pre-cut it out, because if you were to put the die in, it goes on the side and locks in, and then I've got my embossing, and I want to, because I've already cut it out, it's going to fit within that shape perfectly. But if I hadn't cut it out, that would have been a rectangle, and I wouldn't be able to hold that with the die and get this in the right position all at the same time. So I went ahead and die cut it first, and now I'm just going to lay it on the folder and line up the pattern. So this is the exact same pattern as the stamp. So see how I've lined that up? And then if I carefully close that, I can again use it just as an embossing folder sandwich, and that's going to emboss my butterfly, and I'll show you what that looks like. So again, I'm using just the number 1 plate, then the folder, and then the number 4, just as I'm embossing. Run that through, and it creates a really deep impression right over where the gold embossing is. So it looks like that gold, it almost looks like there's 2 layers there, 2 separate things that you've attached one to the other. But it's a really cool effect. Okay, so that's going to go on there. And so I just want to position these wings, the white ones, and I'll stick them on next. Oh, I'm really liking this other colourway too. I'll just leave that there and put a bit of glue. Now, I didn't glue the whole wing. I really just sort of centered on the base of the wing so that the top is sort of hanging free. So really that's about all the glue I put on. Just going to slip that under there because I want it to poke out. Something like that. Then we'll do the other side. Yes, so I don't know what happened to Facebook, but I went into my event that I had created. I created these live events as a recurring event, and I went in to start my video and it said that my event was cancelled, and I hadn't cancelled it. So I don't know what's happening there. I have to reset it up again. So hopefully you've found me okay. Otherwise you might be watching the replay. Okay, so that's our white wings attached, and then I'm going to put on this embossed one. Now with this one, I wanted to keep those wings raised but have the body firmly attached. So I'm going to put glue underneath the body and some dimensionals under the wings so that they stay up. And I didn't use too many, maybe 3 on each side. Just did the small ones. Okay, now I'm going to just put a little bit of adhesive in the middle. So that bit will stick to the base and the wings will look like it's flying. There we go. And yeah, it flips up and you've got your lovely word underneath. Very cool. Okay, so at this point we can attach it to the base, which I just did because there's quite a lot of layers going on here. I thought we don't need dimensionals for that. So, and it also just make sure this fold over piece is nicely secured. So I'll just put glue on that. Oh, I was going to rescore that. I'm not really doing this very well. Funny, after a bit of time off, you kind of a wee bit out of practice, I found. Yeah, I just wanted to rescore that top line. Nice. Okay. So I went ahead and created a happy birthday sentiment, which I've embossed white on basic black cardstock. And I just wanted to show you how I cut that out because it's such a small thing. I just trimmed the edges to size, and I have done quite a good job of getting it straight along that edge. So I'm only going to cut the top edge, and I just eyeball it and just try and keep it even. Just like that, and I'm not too bothered if it is a little bit skewy because it's quite small, so it's going to be hard to pick up imperfections. And then I'm just going to separate the two words. Oops. And then when I first stuck it on, I stuck it on and then went to open the card and realised I'd gone over that edge. So just when you're putting these on, make sure that you're clear of the shape, otherwise you won't be able to open it and see your secret word. And I would have preferred to use the black dimensionals, but I don't think I have any at the moment. Okay. I guess you could, if you wanted to, hold it closed a little bit with this, but then the recipient wouldn't know necessarily that it would lift up, so your message might not get seen. Although when it actually stands up, it does sort of lean forward a wee bit. So if you wanted to tuck these so that it just held it at that end, that would work as well. Okay, now the ribbon. I wasn't quite sure what colour to use, so I've done a little sample here. This is the iridescent, is it iridescent something trim? Where's the roll got to? Oh, it's rolled away. Oh, here it is. Oh, gosh, bang crash. Iridescent striped trim. And it's a really pretty ribbon. It's sort of already got a little bit of the purple sort of in it, but I wanted to colour it to go to make my bow, and I couldn't decide what colour, so I've done a little sample thing, and I'm actually I think I'm heading towards the fuchsia, fresh freesia. So I did try Blackberry Bliss, the light and the dark, but I'm just feeling that there's a bit more of a lighter purple vibe. So I'm going to go with the, what is this one? Dark Fresh Freesia. So I'm going to colour my ribbon first. And I've cut a length that was, I think it was 38 centimetres. It's probably a bit hard to see. Try and do it so I'm showing the camera. I could even come down a wee bit. I can't actually see it on the screen. Okay, because it is this iridescent, it's sort of see-through. But you'll see as I start colouring. So I'm just using the edge of the brush tip of my blend. Trying to hold it down, and actually I could use a block. Use that butterfly to hold that end, that's better. It's quite a satisfying noise that it makes. Just rubbing on the fabric. Okay, I might just fold it over. Just put a bit more under. Okay, I don't think I need to do the reverse side, but let's just have a look. I think it would have all gone through, yes. It's pretty well covered, and it's a really pretty colour to go on my card. I'm just going to wipe that glass mat. Okay. So the next thing I need to do with the ribbon is cut it in half through the middle. I'm actually going to use some bigger scissors for this. So this will give me just a thinner version. And it makes it just a bit more delicate than using it the width that it came. Right, there we go. Pretty easy to do. Okay, so my plan is to tie this now. So I'm just going to lay it over my fingers. So I'm thinking about the middle of the bow is that gap between my fingers. So I've got a tail down that way, and then I'll come around and have a tail. Just try and keep them flat. Twist in that one. Yep, so that goes off the end, and then this one comes around and goes off the end. It's all flat. Okay, then I'm going to take my gold thread and go, I could actually grab it, see if this will work. Take the whole thing off my fingers. You could do this around something, but I find it's quite useful to do the fingers because that gives you the middle. So now I'm going, oops, I haven't done enough. Yeah, you do have to take it off because I need to get that loop up here. I'm just going round the whole centre now of the bow with my twine, my gold thread. one of those situations where you need another pair of hands. Just tying that gold thread. I probably cut it a bit short. It would be easier with a longer piece. Okay, so I'm just tying that in a knot in the middle. And now I've got a sweet little bow that I'm just trying to figure out the ends. They want to go that way. I want all my ends towards the bottom. Just figured out it's easier to go with the ribbon than against it, so they were tending to go that way rather than the other way, so that's the way I'll go with. And then my bow loops are different sizes, which is fabulous. That's the look I was going for, so quite happy with that. Now I might just double off that knot, just tie it again so it won't go anywhere. And the ends of that gold thread are fraying nicely as well already. So they are going to form part of the decoration. So they're just going to hang loose. Okay, then we just want a glue dot to settle it there in the middle. Oh, I'm really pleased with that. That's really pretty. So there's my dot. So I just take my whole bow and put it on the dot. Oh, now I'm still zoomed in. Hold on 1 second. Under the shadows. Okay, so that was the dot there. So I'm just pressing down on that. And then you can just pull it off. And I'll just make sure that these pieces are all heading in the right direction, which they are. I don't know why those are through the loop though. It's a bit bothersome because I've tied it upside down or something silly. Oh, I wonder if I turned it over. That might be better. See if I can. I've got the dot there, so take the glue dot off. I should have checked that. And now, of course, I want to try and twist that gold thread to the back, which might not be possible. Because I tied it quite tightly. Just trying to ease it round with my fingers. Okay, so we'll go with another glue dot. Now the tails are behaving a bit better, I think. And then that just goes on top of that top butterfly, actually maybe a little bit lower down. Out there, so you can see its head. Okay, and then we can just trim all of those ends of the ribbon. So I could possibly have used slightly less ribbon, but it's always easier to manage when you've got more rather than less. I'm just cutting each end at an angle. And the gold thread, you can just sort of go in with your scissors and make that fray a little bit. That one's doing it by itself, and now I've got two together here. I might just separate them a bit. And you just want that first sort of centimetre or so to fray. There we go. So pretty. And then for this one, I thought we would use the purple fine shimmer gems. These are all different shades of purple, which kind of goes with what we're doing. And now which one? I think because we did the light ribbon, I might do the darker purple gems. And I put one there. And one down by the words. Oh. Just to draw your eye down here. Should we put it in the middle of the words maybe? Quite nice. And finally, we've got I'm going to do the inside. Now, I'll just check that this is the piece that I had cut for that. Things got it in a bit of a muddle here. That's life, isn't it? Okay, yes, 9.7. That is the one. Okay, so I need to just cut a piece of Blackberry Bliss. Oh, do we want Blackberry Bliss or do we want that Fresh Freesia? Have a look. So this is for the inside. So I've actually added a layer of colour underneath the normal white insert and then stamped my butterfly. So I'm just figuring out which colour to put on this one. I don't have a piece the right size of the Blackberry Bliss, but I'm thinking that maybe that Freesia is actually quite pretty with it and not overpowering. Maybe that Blackberry Bliss is a little too much. So we'll just trim this piece down. Okay, so the size of this is 10. I'm working in metric, but I will provide the measurements in imperial as well. And then 14.4. So you know that I send out the tutorial to everyone on my mailing list after the live video, or a couple of days later. So that's going to go on the inside, and that tutorial has all the measurements that you need. So rather than quoting them all here in the video, I just do that as a separate email. Now I'm just wondering, no, I think I'll do the same butterfly. And I'm going to get Fresh Freesia, which is out, I think, in use somewhere here. Where have I put it? I've got my projects here for my classes this week. Here we go. So we're using it in class on Saturday, and there's still some spaces in that class if anybody's keen. It's card making class in botany, or sort of Flatbush area. Okay, so that's our Fresh Freesia butterfly. And this month we're using, in the classes, we're using the Terrific Toadstools. And that's a bundle with a punch. Stamps and a punch. It's really fun. And again, there's a paper in Celebration that matches with that set as well, which we're going to be using some of the projects. So that will be fun. So yeah, I've got Saturday, then Tuesday night in Remuera. And then the following Saturday, we're here in Aka Aka. And there are spaces available in all of those classes. So you can find all of those details on my website under classes. Okay, so now I'm just lining this up. I line up my 3 edges without glue, and then just pop down the glued side into the centre. Oh, gluey fingers. Surprise, surprise. Oh, and there we have it. So you've got this beautiful butterfly that flips up with a secret word and also access to show off that beautiful embossing folder underneath. So I'm really pleased with how that's come out, and I love this colour combination. Oops, just as much as I loved the first one. So there are the two colours that I did, and there's other colours in the pack. You've got blues and greens, so you can do that colour combination if you like. So lots of choice, and any DSP, of course, will work for this type of thing. So plenty of opportunity to invent something new yourself. Oh, one more class to mention is we have so I've teamed up with Deb. Some of you will know Deb, and she and I are doing a scrapbooking class in Waiuku at the, what's it called? Leafy Hollow, Lavender Farm. They've got a really pretty room there, and on March the 1st, we've got the room booked for the afternoon. So you can just come along and bring your own scrapbooking project or card making project, whatever you're working on, and just rent a bit of space with us. We bring along our cutting and embossing and different tools that everyone can use, and there's also the option of doing our scrapbook page, which I've actually got here. So we have designed a double page spread, which I'm just uncovering off my craft table. Might be a little bit dusty. Just get those out of the way. So here's a little sneak peek. So that was the first, it's page 1. Hopefully all of that is showing up. Oh yes, pretty much. That's page 1, and then this is page 2. So we're using the Country Woods paper and a stamp set called Seaside Wishes, and a Celebration stamp set, the Seagull one. I'm not sure of the name of that. Something Seagulls. So that's the Documenting the Day. So that's the stamp set for the words at the top. And Friendly Seagulls is the stamp set as well. So Friendly Seagulls and Seaside Wishes. I'm sure a lot of us have got beachy photos from the holiday break in the summer. So yeah, a great layout to use for your scrapbooking, your beachy photos. So that's happening on the 1st of March, and it's all, again, on my website. You can book in for that. And that's happening in Waiuku. So, yeah, thanks for joining me again this week, and I'll catch you again next week. See you.